Welcome to Starseed Direct's annual astrological forecast. Every year carries a distinct energetic signature. Some years are about healing what's already happened. Some years ask us to slow down, integrate, or let go. 2026 will be different. This is a threshold year. A year of crossing. A year where we move out of preparation and into initiation. In astrology, not all years are created equal. Some mark endings. Others quietly rearrange things behind the scenes. But threshold years are unmistakable. They sit between what was and what's coming next. In 2026, several long-cycle planetary shifts occur almost back-to-back. These are not the kinds of transits that affect a single mood or a single week. They shape identities, timelines, and the direction of the collective. This year is not asking you to have everything figured out. It's asking you to step forward anyway, to move with intention, take responsibility for what you're building, and to recognize that something new is beginning whether you feel ready or not. This forecast is designed to be returned to. Think of it as a map, not of exact outcomes, not just watch once, but of the terrain we're all moving through together. This is 2026, a threshold year. Let's begin.
To understand why 2026 matters, we need to zoom out. Astrology isn't only about daily transits or momentary moods. The most important shifts happen slowly, over years, sometimes decades. In 2026, multiple outer planets change signs. These are the planets that don't just influence individuals, they shape generations. When outer planets move, they signal the end of one era and the beginning of another. Not overnight, but unmistakably. This is why 2026 feels different. It's not a year of small adjustments. It's a year where the framework itself begins to change. The beliefs we've carried, the systems we've relied on, the identities we've been growing into quietly over the last several years, all begin to shift form. You may notice this as restlessness, or clarity, or the sense that something you once tolerated no longer fits. Collectively, this is a turning point. That doesn't mean everything becomes clear immediately. It means the direction becomes unavoidable. 2026 matters because it's the year where intention starts to matter more than potential, where participation matters more than observation. Carries forward what you choose to engage with this year, what you build, support, or step away from.
Now we move from the overview into the mechanics, because what's happening next in 2026 isn't just symbolic, it's structural. In early 2026, Saturn and Neptune both enter the sign of Aries. In astrology, Saturn and Neptune operate on very different frequencies. Saturn governs structure, limits, time, and physical reality. Neptune governs waves, intuition, imagination, dissolution, and the unseen. From a scientific lens, you can think of Saturn as form and Neptune as field. One defines boundaries, the other dissolves them. When these two planets occupy the same region of the zodiac, they don't cancel each other out. They interact. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It represents ignition, momentum, and the moment energy becomes motion. So, when Saturn and Neptune move into Aries, we're witnessing a rare convergence, vision entering the phase of activation. Saturn doesn't allow that, and it isn't about blind impulse either. Neptune dissolves motivations that aren't aligned. In practical terms, 2026 marks a period where abstract goals begin encountering friction, where dreams are tested by reality, where inspiration meets constraint, not to be destroyed, but to be shaped. There's also an important aspect here. Saturn and Neptune form a conjunction in Aries, aligning their energies at nearly the same degree. In astronomy, conjunctions describe objects appearing close together from our point of view. In astrology, they describe merged functions. This is why 2026 doesn't feel optional. When Saturn and Neptune align, the question becomes, what are you willing to commit to bringing into form? Systems built without vision dissolve. Visions without structure evaporate. This transit doesn't reward urgency. It rewards alignment. Aries supplies the force. Saturn supplies the framework. Neptune supplies the meaning. And once that combination activates, there's no going back to passive dreaming.
Uranus is often called the planet of innovation, disruption, and sudden insight. It's the cosmic big idea generator, the force that reconfigures systems from the inside out. In Taurus, Uranus shook up values, resources, and material stability. Now in Gemini, the sign traditionally associated with communication, cognition, language, and learning, that disruptive force shifts into the realm of the mind and connection. Think of Gemini as the circuitry of meaning, learning, dialogue, technology, networks. Uranus here is like an electrical current surging through that circuitry, challenging old protocols, refreshing how ideas are shared, and accelerating the spread of information. It opens the possibility for unorthodox thinking, rapid technological iteration, and new forms of exchange. This is not simple curiosity, it's intellectual evolution. While Uranus first touched Gemini in 2025, it retreated and will return on April 25th, 2026, this time to stay for years. That's a signal that 2026 marks the deep beginning of a new mental era where communication is reconfigured at scale. Under this influence, breakthroughs aren't just possible, they're inevitable. Expect shifts in how we learn, how we teach, how we network, and how information flows between people and systems. Gemini's quicksilver intelligence meets Uranus's urge for change. And what arises isn't incremental, it's paradigm altering. So when Uranus enters Gemini this spring, it doesn't just change where you think, it changes how you think. Ready your mind to adapt, resist outdated patterns, and embrace innovation as the new baseline.
Next, we move into one of the most visibly expressive transits of 2026. In late July 2026, Jupiter enters the sign of Leo, where it will remain for approximately 1 year. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. From a scientific perspective, it amplifies whatever field it moves through, expanding scale, visibility, and influence. Leo governs self-expression, creativity, leadership, and performance. It's associated with the heart, both biologically and symbolically, and with the act of being seen. When Jupiter moves into Leo, expansion shifts from the mind and systems into expression and embodiment. Ideas don't stay theoretical. They seek an audience. This transit historically correlates with increased emphasis on creative output, cultural visibility, leadership figures, and large-scale storytelling, where presence matters as much as content. At a technical level, Jupiter's passage through Leo increases momentum around projects that require confidence, visibility, and sustained creative effort. In 2026, this follows the mental rewiring of Uranus and Gemini. First, the idea evolves, then the idea steps onto the stage. Jupiter in Leo asks a simple question: what are you willing to stand behind publicly?
In 2026, the lunar nodes shift signs, making a change in collective direction. The lunar nodes aren't physical bodies, they're mathematical points, the intersections of the moon's orbit with Earth's path around the sun. These points determine where eclipses occur. As the north node moves into Aquarius, south node enters Leo, the emphasis shifts. South node in Leo highlights patterns centered on validation, performance, and personal insight. The north node in Aquarius redirects attention towards systems, collaboration, and contribution beyond the self. This isn't a rejection of creativity. It's a recalibration of where it's applied. In 2026, growth comes not from standing apart, but from understanding how you participate within something larger.
Eclipses are not random sky events. Astronomically, they occur when the Sun, Earth, and Moon align at the lunar nodes, the same points where the lunar orbit intersects Earth's orbital plane. When that alignment happens, we experience a solar or lunar eclipse. In 2026, there are 4 main eclipses, each activating different themes in the zodiac. Eclipses act like cosmic accelerators. They illuminate what's already in motion, speed up endings, and prompt beginnings. The first eclipse of the year is a solar eclipse on February 17, 2026, at approximately 28 Aquarius. Solar eclipses highlight beginnings. They are new moon alignments with extra punch. Aquarius is associated with community, innovation, technology, and collective systems. This eclipse tends to activate areas where we are rethinking how we connect, how we share information, and how we organize together. It's about shifts in group identity and collective purpose. For individuals, this eclipse often brings a sense of something new emerging in the realm of networks, team structures, or long-term visions, especially if you've already been feeling that nudge. 2 weeks later, on March 3, 2026, there's a lunar eclipse at about 12. Virgo. Lunar eclipses are full moon alignments. They tend to highlight culminations, realizations, and endings. Virgo is associated with systems, routines, health, analysis, and refinement. This eclipse often signals a point of completion or adjustment in areas that need optimization. It brings internal integration and external closure, particularly around daily patterns, wellness practices, workflows, and practical organization. Lunar eclipses resolve things that have already been building beneath the surface. This one asks, what needs to be refined, released, or reorganized so your life is more sustainable long-term? Mid-year. On August 12, 2026, we have another solar eclipse at about 20. Leo. This is a very public and dramatic eclipse. And because Leo is associated with creativity, self-expression, leadership, and visibility, it tends to stimulate expansion in creative projects, performance arenas, and personal branding. Solar eclipses are forward-leaning. They activate seeds of new intention. In Leo, the urge is not just to be seen, but to be remembered. This eclipse favors initiatives that involve creative leadership, heart-led expression, or center stage roles. Just over 2 weeks later, on August 28, 2026, there's a lunar eclipse at about 4 Pisces. Water sign eclipses like this one amplify intuition, emotional resonance, and subconscious pattern shift. Pisces is tied to imagination, spiritual perception, compassion, and boundary dissolution. A Pisces lunar eclipse often marks endings in contexts of emotional processing, letting go of old narratives, or concluding storylines that no longer align with your inner truth.
In 2026, retrogrades aren't interruptions. They're designated review periods built into the rhythm of the solar system. From Earth's vantage point, a planet appears to move backward when Earth overtakes it in orbit. That optical effect invites us to slow down, reassess, and refine rather than rush forward. There are 3 Mercury retrogrades this year, and all occur in sensitive, water-influenced signs, encouraging deep internal review around communication, relationships, and emotional logic. First, from February 26th to March 20th, Mercury retrogrades through Pisces, slowing conversation around intuition, clarity, and spiritual meaning. Second, from June 29th to July 23rd, it retrogrades through Cancer, inviting reassessment of emotional security, family patterns, and the language of care. Third, from October 24th to November 13th, Mercury backs through Scorpio, where communication digs into depth, power dynamics, and psychological truth. Beyond Mercury, Several outer planets also turn retrograde, shaping the larger arcs of our year. Saturn, the planet of structure, responsibility, and long-term practice, goes retrograde from July 26th through December 10th in Aries, asking us to revisit commitments, boundaries, and how we sustain momentum. Neptune, associated with imagination, intuition, and the deeper psyche, retrogrades in Aries from July 7th through December 12th, encouraging us to clarify dreams into actionable creativity. There's also Jupiter retrograde early in the year. It ends on March 10th, 2026, in Cancer, emphasizing a deep review of beliefs, expansion plans, and emotional security before Jupiter moves forward again. Each retrograde is like a cosmic quality control period, not a halt, but an invitation to revise, reconnect, and realign with intention. When you work with these phases rather than resist them, what you refine becomes stronger and clearer for the long arc of your growth.
Now that we've mapped the major movements of 2026, it's time to bring this down to a personal level. Astrology doesn't land the same way for everyone. It activates different parts of life depending on where your chart is wired. As the planet shift begins, change direction and form new alignments, each zodiac sign receives its own set of pressure points, openings, and invitations. Some signs are being asked to initiate, while others to stabilize, refine, or release. Aries, 2026 is a defining year for you as Saturn and Neptune move into your sign. Beginning a long cycle of restructuring identity and purpose, the most potent period arrives mid-year onward, when clarity around leadership, direction, and personal responsibility becomes unavoidable. Aries, this is a year to align vision with discipline. Taurus, with Uranus still active, you will continue to experience change around security, finances, and long-term plans. Pay close attention to late spring through summer, when sudden adjustments may require flexibility rather than resistance. The major key comes as Uranus begins activating you, Gemini, signaling a long-term revolution in how you think, speak, and connect. Mid to late 2026 highlights breakthroughs in learning, technology, and communication patterns. It will be your mental agility, Gemini, that becomes your greatest asset. Cancer, you will feel 2026 through the lens of responsibility and visibility, especially as outer planets emphasize career and public roles. The Mercury retrograde in Cancer mid-year will require emotional recalibration around your core ideologies regarding family, boundaries, and overall self-care. This will be obligatory to your growth. Protect your energy as you step into larger arenas. Jupiter's move into your sign, Leo, will amplify confidence, visibility, and overall creative output. The most expansive phase unfolds mid-year onward, favoring leadership, performance, and passion projects. Growth follows courage, but moderation will keep it sustainable. Virgo, you are being challenged to integrate rather than perfect in 2026, especially as eclipses and outer transits highlight shared resources and emotional depth. Spring and fall eclipse seasons bring turning points around trust and collaboration. Precision is your forte, and that absolutely matters, but so does release. Libra, 2026 will recalibrate relational dynamics, especially with your long-term partnerships. Mid-year planetary shifts ask you to redefine fairness, commitment, and reciprocity. Balance is restored, by clarity, not compromise. Scorpio, you will experience a year of psychological recalibration, particularly during the fall Mercury retrograde in your sign, which revisits themes of power, truth, and intimacy regarding your close relationships and shared commitments. Expect conversations to resurface old truths and unspoken dynamics. This isn't a year for forcing outcomes. It's about refining influence through clarity and conscious restraint. Sagittarius, in 2026, the universe invites you to reassess trajectory as retrogrades and eclipses highlight belief systems and your long-term vision. Early to mid-year favors reflection before expansion accelerates once again. Alignment will matter more than speed. Capricorn, you will continue a multi-year evolution journey around authority, responsibility, and your foundations, mid to late 2026, as Saturn retrogrades. It will invite strategic reassessment of goals and commitments. It will be your sustainability, not acknowledgement, that will become the true measure of your success. Aquarius, in 2026, you will feel energized as collective energy themes move closer to your frequency. This will especially be particular through technological and social change. Late in the year will bring clarity around your challenges between personal originality versus collective responsibility. Innovation will work best for you when you remain grounded. Pisces, you will experience transitions from a long intuitive cycle into one that demands embodiment and follow-through. Early 2026 closes old chapters, while the rest of the year emphasizes actualization of your dreams into form. Vision becomes real through structure and a practical plan. 2026 is a threshold year, not one to rush through, but one to move through with awareness. Trust the signal, follow the alignment, and remember, you were woven into this very moment long before you arrived. If this resonated, I invite you to stay connected. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue this evolutionary metaphysical journey together. Thanks for watching.